What's going on, everyone? My name's Austin from Captured Metal, and we have a 2025 Toyota Camry Hybrid. This one's an SE, and it's actually pretty cool. I was given this specific Toyota Camry from Toyota of Marietta here in Marietta, Georgia. So big thank you to them, because if you haven't seen it yet, they also lent me a Tacoma Trail Hunter, which was pretty freaking sweet. And now I've got this. And I'm excited because I'm so curious about this Camry. So without further ado, let's get back to the video. Now let's talk about the front end of the Camry. This is a new generation and it is only hybrid, which is a big deal. On the front end, you can tell they definitely went with a more aggressive design. You have this headlight design that's interesting because part of the headlight is divided by a piece of the bumper here. So it's kind of, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like the little less than greater than sign, you know, kind of a tip of an arrow here. One thing to point out on this specific unit, it does have this front lighting, which is actually an individual option. So I'm coming to find out that a lot of Toyotas actually have a lot of individual options that are installed at the port, not necessarily by dealerships. On the front end, you have this huge grille in the lower portion. I would like to assume that a lot of that opening for the air dam is going to help not only cool the motor, but help cool the hybrid battery powertrain. And you still have openings on the top portion of the grille. Now, with this one being an SE trim, this is the sportier variant. So if you're not necessarily wanting to get the top of the line, fully loaded sporty variant of the Camry, and you just want something that's nice and cool looking while also getting great gas mileage, this is it. So you're going to have this sportier front end, which is nice. This color is called heavy metal, which I love because I'm a metalhead. But yeah, so overall, it's a great design in the front. Definitely a step in the more aggressive direction, which I'm here for. It's also worth noting that with this sportier design, you do have these little, I don't even want to call them canards, but they look like canards, honestly, from, say, a high-performance sports car. Design element looks pretty cool. I'm sure it's got an aerodynamic benefit there. And you still have your adaptive cruise control up front, which the little brick for it's actually really tiny. So it's actually cool to see a company actually make it super small. And I'm actually surprised they didn't integrate it into their emblem, because they usually do that. It's also worth noting that these headlights are standard LED for your low beams and your high beams. However, the lower trims like this SE are going to have incandescent bulbs for your turn signals, where higher trims are going to have full LED turn signals and even daytime running lights. With the SE being the sportier trim, you do get these black wheels, which of course look incredibly sporty, and they do complement this heavy metal paint really well. It is a little bit of a 5-spoke design in whole. However, you see there are a bunch of individual spokes here, but it's a really nice, sporty, clean design. And these actually look like they'd be easy to clean. And I say that because pollen is attacking us here in the Atlanta area. So if this looks green and yellow, I apologize. For this specific trim, you do have keyless entry as part of a convenience package, which gives you a home link mirror. So that's for your garage door. But now you can simply just touch the outside of it, it locks it, or just grab the handle and I can unlock the car. As long as this guy's on, super easy and simple. Other things to make note of, you do have your LED indicators on the mirror housing. It is body colored, which is also a plus. They didn't kind of cheap out there in a way. But like other Lexus and Toyota models, if you want to unlock the rear, you're going to have to do it from the front first. Just keep that in mind. All right, let's talk about the rear of the Camry, because this is my favorite part of the car, arguably. Okay, the new brake light design mimics the front end design, which I love when car companies do that. I don't know what it is, but it has that same little inset where a piece of the trunk trim goes in the brake light and it splits it up. I don't know why, but I love it when the front and rear match. You do have Camry in all black on the back. The actual Toyota emblem is still silver. I'm surprised they didn't match that. You have your HEV badge because it's a hybrid. And then you do have your SE badge in back here as well. You are going to have certain LED aspects to the lights. So your brake lights are going to be LED, your indicators are not, and your reverse lights are also going to be incandescent bulbs. So overall, it's a pretty handsome design. We have the spoiler in the back to emphasize sportiness. And overall, the rear bumper, you're going to have this cladding in the bottom that's still kind of painted, but it's kind of a textured piece, supposedly for durability. But overall, it's a really nice design. It's really refreshing. The Camry is cool. I mean that. Oh, and don't forget, you still get stylish twin exit exhaust. Something that you don't see every day in this segment. A lot of people are starting to hide their exhaust. Why? It looks cool. I already see this question coming up. There's tons of space in here. All these mid-size economy sedans, they have a great amount of space. It doesn't matter what car you choose, if I'm being honest. This seat is exactly where I had it when I sat in it. I've got tons of leg room. The seats are wide. The seats are super comfortable. I've got plenty of headroom. Just make note, this specific one doesn't have the sunroof, but even then, sunroofs only take maybe half an inch or an inch of headroom. So honestly, I'm spacious, or I'm feeling spacious. English is hard. And we are off in the Camry. So, first impression wise, seating position's actually really nice, which I enjoy because I think car companies should put an emphasis on making these sedans fun to drive again. If you guys like this content, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. It really supports me and my efforts to give out this content to you guys, and I hope it's entertaining and also informative for those who might be wanting to buy one of these. But yeah, I appreciate you guys who are already subscribed. I love the fact that you guys support me. But if you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by, and I really hope you like the content. The steering has a little bit of weight to it, but it's definitely a little bit more on the vague side, which it is what it is. You're not looking for, say, a Supra. But how cool would that be if they made a B58 powered Camry? Oh my god, the world would explode. What? Like a rear-wheel drive Camry? Holy cow, that'd be sick. The hybrid's kicking in. So right now I'm in EV mode, and when I do some things, the gas motor kicks in. CVTs are not going to be the most engaging transmissions. So you can't come into this thinking, hey, this is going to be an engaging driving experience, because the reality is it's not why you get one of these things. Maybe an XSE if they do a little bit more in terms of tuning for the powertrain, but I know even this one, which is the SE, you get a little bit different of a suspension, a sportier suspension, so to speak, along with all the aesthetic goodies. Visibility is excellent. There's a little bit of road noise, but I'm curious if that's specific to this trim, just because sportier trim, maybe sportier tires. Going around this turn, I wouldn't say fairly quickly, but decently quick. Handles pretty well. A little bit of body roll. Man, steering is just so predictable in this car the more I drive it. And that's just the enthusiast of me. I know for every run-of-the-mill John Smith who really doesn't care about true driving dynamics of a car, they're not going to really focus on stuff like that. But me, because I like sportier cars, that's something that I think about. The suspension's comfortable. I mean, it eats up the bumps really well. I think the surprising part about the driving experience of this car is the road noise. It's not loud. I'm not trying to exaggerate it, but it's noticeable. But I'm also not listening to music, so if you're going to bump your own tunes, you can probably drown that out. Yeah, you can tell it's got the CVT. I mean, it is what it is, right? You're going to win some, you're going to lose some, but I think for the sake of the purpose of this car, I mean, it's supposed to be a sportier looking economy sedan that gets great gas mileage, right? Let's talk about the powertrain, right? So now the Camry is only available as a hybrid. So that's definitely going to change the game for the Camry itself, because one, making it a hybrid only can be a benefit or it could be a drawback, right? The only drawback I can truly see for buyers in this segment is cost, because this specific one, for example, stickers at like $33,000 because it's got the convenience package, which again gives you the home link and the capacitive touch door handles. But this one also has the cold weather package, which gives you the heated steering wheel, heated front seats, which is cool. Those packages aren't pricey. They're like $600 each, for somebody who wants to buy a car in this class, that puts it in a higher price point. But if somebody's keeping this thing for a longer period of time, then yeah, the cost savings when it comes to gas could definitely help, because this thing's definitely getting into the high 30s, low 40s when it comes to fuel economy, and you know, that can make a difference for somebody, especially if they live in the city. Now, just driving this thing through the roads of Marietta, these roads are treacherous, let me be honest, and overall, the seats are actually super, super comfortable. I really enjoy the feel of the seats because for some reason, like, my back support in this is just awesome. I really enjoy the design of the seats as well, because it's this black and white two-tone design that just looks super sporty, you know, and I think in this segment, if you're going to build a sporty car, you got to have something that looks the part, and this definitely does, inside and out. Material quality on the inside, you've got great materials. They're all soft touch. Of course, there's going to be a decent bit of plastic, as you would expect at this type of car, but it's not overbearing. You've got this faux carbon fiber trim that's going into the dash all the way across, so again, giving it a little bit more of a sportier essence. You'll see a fair amount of car companies do that. I like certain things like the digital gauge cluster that's inset. It's a good change from panoramic displays, though I've got nothing against panoramic displays, but I just like the fact that this digital gauge cluster is actually inset into the dash. It's just a good touch. Just my personal preference. You can make yours. This specific one does not have the upgraded screen. So there's a 12.3-inch display screen. I believe that's the dimension of it. That's optional. This one's the 8-inch touchscreen. I've used some of Toyota's larger touchscreens, like in the Tacoma Trail Hunter. I've been in the Toyota Crown, and they're incredibly responsive, really good resolution. This 8-inch touchscreen, no different, right? So it's very responsive. The graphics are nice. This one has a screen cover on it, which helps with glare. So if you're ever worried about glare, just get a screen cover, just like you would your iPhone or Android, if you like Androids. My favorite part about this interior is the fact that the climate controls are all tactile. You have to press and click a little toggle switch to go up and down with the physical temperatures. I love that, because a lot of companies are just going to screen to access everything your heart can desire in the car. Like, I don't want to go into a screen just to have my temperature or my heated seats turned on or off or changed in general. Thank you, Toyota. One thing about the driving experience that I do enjoy is, and for you enthusiasts, you might hate me for saying this, but the CVT just gives such an instant response, and the fact that this is a hybrid means you're getting instant torque. Mind you, this car, it's got a decent bit of power. I mean, if you're getting the front-wheel drive models, you have a little over 220 horsepower. If you're getting all-wheel drive, I think that number goes to 230 horsepower. Not crazy numbers, and yes, they're lower numbers than outgoing, V6 models, but you're getting a lot of that instant electrified torque, which is what you want. You want the torque. You also get paddle shifters. So if you want to simulate gear changes, you can. And the responsiveness is actually pretty good. It gives it a little bit of pizzazz. You can't be too mad at them for doing this, right? You got all your safety nannies. You've got your collision avoidance. You got your lane departure, lane keeping assist. You've got your blind spot detection. Naturally, you got your back camera and such. But on this model, you're not going to have things like parking sensors, which might be important to some. So just keep that in mind if you're looking at different Camry models. Now, I'm going to put this in manual mode. Maybe I'm crazy, but this thing actually gets up and goes. I mean, holy cow. The hybrid powertrain coupled with the CVT really puts the power down. It's, dare I say, kind of a fun drive, even with the CVT, because you have those simulated shift off points. You know, is it like a real automatic? No. Now, regarding the rest of the car, I love the styling of it inside and out. The back seats have plenty of space. You've got storage on the door. You got rear vents for the rear passengers. So if you're bringing your friends along anywhere, they'll be comfortable too. You've got different drive modes. So you've got eco, normal, sport. If I put it in sport, definitely changes the throttle response. So you can have a little bit more fun if you want. The brake feel, just be careful because the brakes are soft in this car. So you really got to put some force into them if you're trying to get this car to actually stop. And hybrids naturally just carry a little bit more weight, so you got to stop a heavier car. Just keep that in mind. Other goodies you got on the inside, you got a wireless phone charger, you've got USB-C ports, which is nice, a USB-A, got cup holders that fit EOL Celsius, you got your brake hold, electric parking brake, automatic lights, normal things that you would like to see in a car. This specific one, again, does not have the sunroof, so keep that in mind. Sunroof is optional, but I like this one just because I want to show people what you get if you're just going, I don't want to say baseline, but a little bit on the entry-level side of the Camry lineup. I foresee this being the best-selling Camry trim because, again, this is a pretty nice ride, but you don't have to shell out 40 grand for a car. So overall, I think the Camry's redesign is super stylish. I like what they did with the design inside and out. It's going to be a big seller like it always is. But I'm curious of what you guys think. Is this the car that you would select in its segment? Or is it priced too high? Or do you not like that it's hybrid only? Curious to see what you guys think. My name's Austin from Captured Metal. I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you in the next review.